Baby, I'm a gangster too, and it takes two to tango. You don't wanna mess with me, mess with me. Baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster too.
On my knees in the night, then
Baby, I'm a gangster too.
bang it.
Baby, I'm a gangster too.
On my knees in the night, then prayers in the street light.
Welcome to the Unspoken Truth, guys. I'm so excited you're here. We have a great episode today. We have a very awesome special guest today. You guys actually heard him on one of the last episodes. It was the Tops and Bottoms episode. Please welcome Mr. Muscle Matty, who I have here with me.
How y'all doing today?
How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this. So.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited about this. We have a show today that we're talking about mental, November is Men's Mental Health Month.
Mm-hmm.
And so our episode today is part two. I know Cody and I did an episode part one, and you and I are doing a part two just for a different point of view for mental health. You know, like I said, it's Men's Health Month, and, we're going beyond the surface, talking PTSD, anxiety, mood swings, irritability, detachment, trouble sleeping, and even difficulty concentrating. I know that I've experienced a lot of that. This isn't easy, but it's necessary, and I feel like our listeners can resonate with this. They did, with the first one. I feel like exactly they could do the same, just from another perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. So we're just gonna dive right on in. I've got some notes that I want to go through. So you guys can see Matty. He looks like he works out just a little bit.
Just a little, just on the weekends.
Just on the weekends, right? So if mental health week, if mental health this week were a gym rep for you, would it be heavy lifting, cardio, or recovery day?
For this week, I'd definitely say recovery.
Recovery?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a little more details. Why?
Just been, busy, rough week at work and stuff, and physically, I've just been, under the weather for a little while, and I feel my body just fighting back. It's like, no, we need a rest.
Yeah.
Pushing for 6 months.
Yeah.
Trying to, reach a specific goal. And I did hit it, and it's like, okay, great. My body's like, okay, we're done. Like, no,
We're done for the minute. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm, I've probably a week and a half, going on 2 weeks now. I've taken off, and I'm slowly getting back into the routine again. Not trying to rush it because I'm going to be 43, so
43.
yeah. So injuries can happen real easy. Recovery doesn't come as fast as it does in your 20s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely say it's been recovery week.
Okay. Well, I like that. I love that idea. I mean, I love that idea. I love that response. I would have to, agree with that myself too. For those of you that don't know, Matty is also a personal trainer. I'll put the links in the Facebook page. So if you want to hire him for personal training, but I do work out with, I do work out with Matty as well. And it is, the older you get, the recovery is a little bit harder on your body too. So taking those times off, those weeks off or whatever to help your body, I think is very called for. And a lot of people should appreciate that and do that more.
Yeah, a lot of people miss that. They always think about is how hard you push in the gym, but in the foundation of things, it's more about your diet and your recovery.
Yeah.
Then the rest will follow.
I agree, 1,000%. So I got another question. How do you know? So since we're talking about mental health, how do you know personally when your anxiety or your stress is creeping in? Just diving right in.
So for me, like when I get stressed out and extremely anxious, I notice I'm very irritable and impatient. I'm very impulsive.
Yeah.
I don't think my decisions all the way through. I'm just going to deal with what's right in front of me and not think about, how it can affect me later or, whoever's with me, like a coworker, so it's like a, constant over and over, and so that's when I notice it. For me, it's like, I got to take a step back.
Yeah.
Reevaluate.
Reevaluate.
Yeah, definitely. On days like that, I try to go home, light a candle, do some journaling, go over the day, how I felt, you know,
Mhm.
try to maybe see what triggered that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I can think, you know, I can find the triggers. Other times, you know, I don't, but it's just the way I felt. And, you know, I got to make sure I try to deal with it in a healthy way.
Yeah. And so do you find that journaling helps you a lot with whenever you're stressed or you have high anxiety or just when you've had a rough day?
It does. You know, putting my thoughts from pen and paper, you know, it forces my brain after a little bit. At first, you know, my brain's still going, you know, 90 miles an hour. But after about 15, 20 minutes, you know, I can,
Breathe.
you know, just, okay, you know, and I'll reread it. And then, you know, sometimes I'll add more. Other times I'm like, you know what? That's enough, you
Mhm.
know, because sometimes I'll try to force it
Right, right.
and then it doesn't help. But in the long run, though, you know, I've gone through anger management and stuff, you know, from things I've gone through in my life, you know, as a kid and growing up and stuff that's happened to me, you know, journaling, you know, has definitely been, you know, a big tool in my
Okay.
arsenal to,
Yeah.
you know, try to keep things regulated in a good way.
Okay. I like that. I've heard a lot about journaling. I've tried to do it. I'm trying to get into it a whole lot more. But I have heard a lot of my friends who do that as well, and they just journal it and they get it. Once they get it out of their system and it's on paper, I have one friend that she does that and then she just burns the paper, throws it in her fireplace. And I'm like, oh, and she's like, I got it out, it's gone, I'm done with it. And I'm like,
Right?
okay. She's like, and then I don't have to think about it. And I go, I like the way you think. Like, okay, but okay, it's different. And, you know, what might work for you may not work for somebody
Right.
else. So, but I do find a lot of my friends do that and it works for them.
I'm
And
glad you brought that up because for me, I actually hold on to it.
okay.
So that way, a couple weeks later, or a month later, I'll go back through
Yeah.
and I'm reading, and then, you know, I'm remembering kind of what happened. Sometimes something else comes to mind,
Mhm.
and then other times I'm like, man, I was just being really overreactive. You know, I was anxious and stressed, and you know, just being overreactive, and you know, being the maker of my own problems.
Yeah. And you also I think you could also when you do that, you could see your progress from prior
Yes,
where you were to where you are now and how much you've grown in the progress there.
definitely. You know, there would always be like talk about my goals or what I want to achieve. You know, small goals, big goals.
Mhm.
Um, so I haven't done it probably in about a month now, a month and a half. But before I stopped, you know, got off the horse. Um, you know, I was talking about little goals I wanted to do, you know, every day. You know, try to always think about, you know, you can always be better.
Mhm.
You know,
100%.
and so some days it'll be like, you know what, like I want to try to help three random strangers. Like if it's just opening the door, maybe giving some spare change to a homeless guy. You know, nothing huge,
Mhm.
just you know trying to give back, you
Yeah.
know, to get some fulfillment, you know. So I would write stuff like that out in the morning time,
I love that.
you know. You know, or then if I didn't do it in the morning, like when I come back at night, you
Mhm.
know, I would write it out and stuff. And you know, then I would go through and it's like, oh, it's like, you know, I've made progress,
Right.
you know, because I would like to try to be the best person I can be. It doesn't always work all the time. By no means, I am no saint, especially in traffic.
Yeah. If
Good
you've heard
Lord,
the
have mercy.
here listening to when he gives me a call and he's in traffic, it's the funniest thing because it's like those memes and it's like you fucking da da da, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
But I can see it playing in my head too because traffic will turn you into another person. You know how people get hungry.
Y'all need Jesus. And I'm over
Yeah.
here like
Turn your blinker on. You know. Okay, very cool. So, you know, with us talking, you know, doing the real talk, this segment is, you know, men and mental health. So, when you think of mental health, what do you think of when you think of mental health?
well, so for me, like you know, definitely anger management,
Mm-hmm.
you know, trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, I've gone through some things in my life growing up and stuff, you know, that like from what my counselors explain, it's like, you know, to deal with it, your brain's basically like put it away,
Right.
you know, but then over time, eventually, you know, you remember it and it can come on. For me, it came on suddenly and it was like this repetitive thought loop,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then finally it really comes through and it's like, oh, wow, you know,
Yeah.
and I was angry, you
Yeah.
know, that's why I needed to go to anger management because That's the only thing I really knew how to express. You know, emotional regulation and stuff. You
Mhm.
know, from that wasn't possible for me.
Yeah.
You know, if I felt sad, it came out angry. If I felt depressed, it came out angry. You know, it all
Yeah.
translated through anger.
Yeah.
You know, another thing, mental health, you know, with PTSD, you know, for
Yes.
like our veterans and stuff. I got, you know, a couple of friends that were in the Marines and my father-in-law too. You know, like, you know, war can really do a number on people, especially their mental health. And
Mhm.
I think, you know, with the PTSD and stuff in our country and everything, it's not treated right.
I
You know,
agree.
they're just throwing drugs at our
To
soldiers.
blanket the issue,
Yeah,
not
you
actually
know,
take care
and
of the issue.
we're just gonna numb you.
Yes, that
Um,
part.
and I think there could be so much more.
Yeah.
You know, to help these guys and help these people, you know, that, you know, served our country.
I often think too, like with a lot of someone, I think it's our generation where often men were told to man up, and suck it
Mhm.
up, and especially with someone, I think it's hard for someone who's suffering from PTSD or anxiety from any sort of that issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I know that me growing up, that's one thing that was like boys don't do this or boys don't
Mhm.
cry, and
Yep.
in other words, man up kind of thing.
That's
And I
right.
think a lot of us are so stuck in that way, but it's also when you're trying to heal it, you have doctors that are tell you to take pills to do this when I think a lot of us, myself included, should talk to somebody or have talked to somebody, a therapist, for each their own. But I also think that there's that toxic masculinity where men are not supposed to, talk about their problems I think that's what is wrong a lot. What is wrong a lot too, because we keep it in. And I think some men express it, talk to somebody about it,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get where I'm coming from?
I do because I'm the youngest out of 5 boys.
5 boys, no
Yes.
sisters.
None.
That's wild.
None. Um, you know, so definitely no. Like
Yeah.
you're not allowed to cry.
Mhm.
Um, in my family, you know, there wasn't my parents weren't very emotional at all, you know, or even talk about it.
Right. Yeah, that part.
You know, yeah. And you know, and for us it's like, well, you know, like we can't talk about it.
Mhm.
You
Just
know, we
sweep it
got to
under the
just
rug.
keep, yeah, sweep it under the rug, not deal with it,
Mhm.
keep moving forward, you know, because we're men, we're strong, we're resilient, you know, we're supposed to be like
Leader of the
steel.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, leader of the family, the provider, the protector.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's all fine and dandy to be those roles, you
Mhm.
know, but it's like we're human.
Yeah, and who's checking on you? You're
Right.
making sure everybody else is okay, but who's checking on you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, just, I think that's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, I see a lot of older men in generations before. It's like, you know, very bitter, I
Mhm.
think, you know, resentful, hateful.
Yeah.
You know, and I think part of that reason is because, you know, they weren't taught or allowed, even allowed, you know, to
Show
have,
anything.
yeah, have emotions.
Yeah.
And that's poisonous, in my opinion.
I agree, and I think because with holding it in so much, I've seen just and I speak for myself, but just being before with when you hold it in, it builds up, and I have been on I failed attempts, thank God, at suicide. Um, but when you let that stuff build up, it's not good for you. You have to let it out, and I feel like a lot of suicides happen because everything is built up and there's nobody to talk to, or they were raised, whoever was raised in that toxic, male or female, but just not to talk to anybody.
Right.
And I think with it being Men's Health Month, I agree with that, and especially with a lot of the veterans, a lot of the people from our generations, our dads, grandparents, and that sort of thing. And it sucks because it could have it could have ended a different way, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. I don't know. You know what I mean? But like not ended, but it could have gone a better way.
Yes.
Yeah. And had there was somebody to talk to and it wasn't just blanketed with medicine or you're okay. And because the mental health is just it can fuck with you really deeply, and it's not when you get to that place, it's a horrible place to be and it's a very dark place.
It is. And it reminds me of a saying I heard from a friend of mine: hurt people hurt, whether
Mhm.
they realize it or not.
Mhm.
You know, and I think like for me, I was a drug addict for 19 years. You know, did everything under the sun. But when I look back, you know, it's like I think a big part of it though was because emotional, like I didn't know what I was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to recognize it. So I turned to drugs and alcohol because it numbed it. It went away, and it gave me a temporary feel good situation.
So that was going to be my question. Did you felt like it was a blanket or something to temporarily
Definitely.
cover up what you were
Definitely.
going through?
100%.
Okay. I was reading something the other day, and it was talking about drug use, and it- I've been there before, and using that as a temporary getaway, and that's why a lot of people. I was reading it was I don't know how proven it was, but something about that a lot of people that go to these festivals and they do these drugs just to get check out.
Mhm.
And I've been there. Like I've been there many a times, um, because it's just your zen, and it's not good for you, but it's also your escape. And being there before, in many places more than once. Um, yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I've known some people that, they can go and do that for their escape,
Hmm.
and then that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
For me, I had to escape every day
yeah.
because I had no coping mechanisms. That
Uh,
was my crutch. That was my coping mechanism, which eventually later turned on to being my God.
mm,
So, but definitely with the mental health and, like depression, I've
hmm.
got some people in my family from mild depression to severe depression.
Yeah,
And, they're going through the ringer. I don't know though, like, I hope they realize though that, for the people that love them, we're going through it with them too.
right.
We don't like seeing them like that. At the same time, we're so powerless because one, we're not going through it ourselves. So we
Hmm.
can't show any empathy, but we show our sympathy because we see what's going on, and we want so desperately to help them.
Right.
And I'm not talking like giving them Prozac, like anyone can do that. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It's like how can we really help you
Yeah.
to get you? Because I got a person in my family. I mean, he is so smart. Like, it's crazy. But when he gets depressed, I mean, he's just in his home, in bed. Like, won't hear from him for like weeks. And we come by, and it's his whole entire, he's lost a job. His house is stinky, dirty, a mess, complete, like, different person.
Hmm.
And it's just like,
Mm.
it's hard.
Yeah. See, I have an aunt like that. This specific aunt, she was very growing up church going on Wednesdays and Sundays and just by the Bible. Ended up divorcing her first husband, and then she came out and was just amazing, like just fun to be around. Well, not that crazy church type person. No offense to anybody that's that type of person. And just fully became herself, and it was great. And then she remarried, and she lost her husband, the second husband. She lost him to cancer, and she has such a vibrant soul, but she's gone into the deep depression, and she's gotten, she's gained weight. She's on the medications, and she works for a doctor too, so she's on a lot of medications, and I hate it because she doesn't leave her house. She's gotten to that depression point, and it's getting to a point where you just can't help anybody. But I also like for me personally, I hate to see her in it, but I've tried my best to be like, hey, we need to get you out of the house. And it's just there are some people that want to be able to get out of it, and there are some people that enjoy being in that dark place. And there's a point to my story, but my I think with that, like, there's a point to the story that I'm coming to, but I don't know. But anyways, it sucks whenever you see a loved one that's in depression and they're so far in depression that they're just comfortable being there. You want to help them, but you can't. And you know it's a toxic road, but you also have to protect yourself because you can get sucked into that too.
Right.
And that's what I had to try to tell my mom. I was like, my mom's always trying to make sure everybody's cool, and I'm like, but
Forget about yourself.
don't forget, yeah, take care of yourself. Make sure your mental health is good too. I go because that can just suck you right on in. And I feel like that's what it's done with a lot of some family members too. It's just sucked them in. I'm like, at some point, you got to take care of yourself and make sure. And that's what I've told this aunt too. And I'm like, you got to make sure to take care of yourself. We don't speak now, but it breaks my heart that she's just gone to that deep depression, just doesn't care, and just, stays at the house like that. Doesn't do anything but go to work and then go home, work at home, work at home. And it sucks. And I wish that there was a way to help, but sometimes you just can't help somebody who's happy with where they're at, even when it's in the depths of deep depression.
Yeah.
You know? So What coping strategies have worked for you or people that you know with mental health or anxiety or depression?
Well, a friend of mine who's got PTSD from the Marines, honestly, great guy. One of his that he uses is knitting.
Knitting.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he's sitting here, he's doing a pattern over and
Repetitive.
over, right,
Yeah.
for a while,
Okay.
and it's just that the body is syncing up with the mind,
Mm-hmm.
and it's calming
I like
him
that.
down, right? I haven't got there yet, so no, but he actually one time made this really badass blanket. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
He did good. For me, I like to go for walks in nature, and if it's like a big field with a lot of grass, it's called grounding, where you walk barefoot on the grass, and you just slowly walk through, and you feel each step. Each step you take, the touch of grass hitting your feet.
You're one with the world, the ground,
and yeah, it's just
Mother Nature.
and it's a sense of another one I found, and this is by accident too. I was actually helping my brother-in-law, my ex-brother-in-law, excuse me, dig a hole for his fence post, and I'm sitting there, just pulling the dirt out, and I don't know, something about that fresh dirt just felt so calming.
Yeah.
So gardening for me
Okay.
is another one, and even just a regular walk, just out in nature. Like
Yeah.
being out in nature for me is a number one thing,
Mm-hmm.
because I love it.
Yeah.
I love seeing creation.
There is another one that Matty didn't tell you guys. Matty likes to chop wood.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes, I do.
So would you say
chopping
that's a coping
firewood.
mechanism for you as
It
well?
is,
Okay.
because
So you
it's
can get out a lot of
repetitive motion.
aggression.
Right. I can let out a lot of aggression. I get a great physical exercise.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I'm being destructive while being constructive, because I'm destroying something to create something else to keep the house warm or have a campfire going so you can make some s'mores. Good stuff.
Yeah. Love a good s'more.
Right?
Nice campfire. Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Supposed to go do this. I've never done that in my life. I maybe have. I helped chop down a tree, but that's not like he's supposed to show me, like,
You got to get them from somewhere.
Yeah, right. Well, these were, anyways, these weren't tree stumps. These were just little trees.
All right. Well,
Took off some limbs with an axe, that was
gotcha.
fun. All right, cool. I think, also for me, one of my coping mechanisms is I have recently, like, I grew up in the Catholic religion. But one of my things that I have found since when Bronco died, because I know that was my late husband, when he died, I turned to my religion a lot, and that's what helped get me, because I was in a real dark place. And more recently, I would say in the past 6 months, even 6 to 10 months, I have just rediscovered, with going into recovery for some things, rediscovered my faith. And a lot of people want to laugh, or they want to, what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. So one of my things is praying, and praying always works for me, but also I tell God each day when I wake up, get in my head before I do. And that works. That has worked for me. And I saw that on social media, and I saw that, I want to say, like 5 or 6 months ago. And it really does work, because you set the tone and the mood for your day. And I can get it, my mind starts running when I go to bed, and when the 2 hours of sleep I get, and then the next, like, let's go, we're doing it. And here goes that anxiety, and I have to keep it under control. And so for me, I tried the medications, but I didn't want to be consistently taking pills. And if you do, that's good. Good for you. I'm not knocking it. But for me, it did become gym when I was going regularly, but also just my faith, and just telling God each morning, get in my head before I do. And like I said, what may work for some people may not work for others, but that's what works for me. And, just being transparent and talking, because I have quite a few people in my life that I can talk to about things, different people for different things, and just not keeping it boxed up.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. Having someone, that you can talk to about this kind of stuff.
Non-judgmental, that's going to just listen.
They sit there and they listen, even, talk about what they're going through, that.
Share the experience together.
Right.
Yeah.
That back and forth, that not only transparency, but even a sense, if you want it, intimacy, because, you are being vulnerable.
Right.
You're sharing your weaknesses you know, and to each other. That, I mean, that alone for me also is a good thing. I
Yeah.
have like a couple people, that I can do that with, and some of them listen better than others, but you know what? They're trying, and I'm the same way. Sometimes when I'm listening, like I try to be like, well, have you tried this? Or no, motherfucker, shut up. Just sit, mouth closed, ears open, and just listen.
Right, right.
They don't want you to fix it. They just want you to listen. And yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So, how do you feel like one like recognizes when anxiety or PTSD or avoidance is affecting a relationship or work? How do you like recognize when something like that is affecting, a
So,
work relationship, your job, or like a relationship?
so the only time I'm really avoidant from my anxiety is like when it's too like it's more like really I need a break to reset.
Okay.
I've learned the hard way many years ago. Like I said, I didn't know how to deal with the emotions, so I just brushed it, just
Hmm.
piled it up under the rug, and it kept, and eventually exploded.
Yeah.
So from that lesson, I learned, it's like you can't. I mean, you can run a little bit, but eventually it will catch up with you.
Yeah.
And then when it does, it is at
It's
the
gonna.
most wrong time, and creates this snowball effect of
Yes.
chaos.
Yeah.
So avoidant. I'm not really I wouldn't say I'm avoidant
Hmm.
anymore.
You
I would
handle it,
say I'm not
tackle it.
avoidant. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but the anxiety and stuff affecting my relationships and work is when I'm extremely impatient.
Hmm.
I'm extremely critical. You know. And almost pretty much like I like to think of myself as a pretty level-headed, decent, uh, mindful person of other people, and
Hmm.
I try to be considerate of people's feelings. You
Right.
know, unless they cross me. No, that's their fault. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, really. I try to be mindful, and it's like, but when I start noticing, the other day I was with my best friend, and I was just, I don't know what triggered it, but I was just in this really cranky mood, and I'm
Hmm.
like, the counters are dirty, and this and that, and blah blah, like, and it's just like just going downhill. I mean, fast.
Hmm.
And he comes out of his room, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay." Like,
Yeah.
he's just showing his care, love, and concern for me.
Hmm.
And I'm biting his head off. And that's when I'm like, okay, like my anxiety and fear, like, is just kicking, it's in overdrive.
Yeah.
Still don't know the exact reason yet, um, but from those actions, my body, my movements, and the way I talk to people
Yeah.
is my main, like, how I notice it.
So do you, when you like for triggers, do you have like if you like your roommate, we won't say his name, but like with your roommate,
Mm.
does he know your triggers? Like,
Yeah. I mean, he's known me for a while, for about 3 years. We're
yeah,
really close,
because I know with
Yeah,
a
because
lot of
sometimes he likes to mess with me and poke those buttons, to have a little bit of fun,
yeah,
But I mean, for the most part, like he knows, and he's like, "Are you okay?"
yeah.
Like
And so
what?
when
He'll ask me what happened.
right, so when you have those triggers, like what do you do to what's the word I'm looking for to calm those triggers down, or like you like when you had your moment, do you talk to yourself? Do you breathe? Like, what do you do for your own mental health on that? Like, what do you
In the moment,
in the moment?
I tell myself, uh, "Be still"
Yeah,
or "breathe."
yeah,
And I've got to be at like, or I don't normally like being in closed spaces, but sometimes, like if I'm in my apartment, I'll go to my room.
mm-hmm.
But most of the time though, I go outside and I walk just a little bit. I'll even pace.
Yeah,
Like I'll have conversations with people and I'm pacing, because I'm anxious, but
yeah,
it also helps keep me calm and, keep my thoughts, pretty coherent. Um, so I'll do that as well.
yeah. Okay, I like that. One of my things as well for myself is to tell myself to breathe. Like this
Mm,
is, I have to tell myself this too shall pass,
right.
and you that phrase, as cliche as it is good. It works for me because it nothing is that big. Just breathe, literally breathe. You got this. And I have to either, like you said, walk out and go take a minute and just like, give me a minute. Don't talk to me. Just give me a minute. Because if you
Right.
talk to me, your head's going to get bit off. So just and breathe. And I have to close myself off and just lay there for a minute, recalculate this Gemini mind. And then
Yeah, both of them.
both of them, because they're arguing with each other. And I'm like, hey, I'm sitting right here. So, so yeah, I agree with that. I think for me, that's
Your local programming will return.
yeah, it's beep. Yes. So I have another question for you. So when did you realize that, when did you first realize that taking care of your mental health was as important as hitting the gym?
Good question. And it's sad. I'm not, oh boy. I want to say about 4.5 years ago
Okay.
when, like I said, like, with my trauma and stuff, like, my mind pushed it so far back
Yeah.
and hid it for so many, of course, like I said, I was a drug addict for 19 years. So
Yeah.
definitely masked in.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a wild ride. All of a sudden it came out. And then I went to, trauma therapy and anger management, through the same counselor. I loved her. She called me on my shit. One time I was like, what do I pay you for? And she's like, you're doing the work. I ain't. And I was like, ouch. Okay. Yes, ma'am. And she was awesome.
Yeah.
And doing the therapy, she did this, had me do this exercise. And it sucked because in a sense, I was reliving, like she's like 0 to 5 at years old, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, blah, 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 until I was 35. I was like, at the age of time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I made the list and I felt so full of shame and disgust and guilt and just sick of myself. And I hated myself. It was just horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible. Luckily, I saw her every week.
Yeah.
So the next week I went back. I felt like that for about 2 days.
Yeah.
And I went back and I went over it and everything, what was the question again? Sorry.
No, you're good. When did you realize?
Yes.
Yes.
And so that's when I started realizing the importance of it.
Yeah.
It's very important. And to me, I tie emotional with mental.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I think they go hand in hand.
for the most part,
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely have your separations.
Yes.
But, I think overall, for me at least, in, my experience, my emotional well-being is tied in with my mental state.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So I just would explain like why for so many years I've always, I really hated myself and loathed myself and just, I mean, of course, everyone there, we are our own worst enemy,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was bad.
Wow.
So that's when I realized about 4.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
What about you?
Me, I realized just, more so, and it was after Bronco passed away that, like I was talking about my aunt earlier, you can be in this bad position and woe is me and in this depressive state, or you can, work to build and pull yourself out of it. And I would say whenever, after he passed away, I had to pull myself out of that. And I had great support, I did, but I also knew that it was a pain. It was a bad pain, but we also control our emotions and we control us. And I know him personally, he would not have wanted me to be that way.
Right.
So that was a trigger point, not a trigger, but that was a realization for me, is to keep on carrying on because that's what he would have wanted. And, give yourself some time to hurt, which I did. I think I gave myself a lot of time to, but I also, out of that, became more appreciative of the smaller things in life and appreciative for all the blessings that I have. And it just made me realize that, again, I control my emotions and I control me. And I can be in a shitty mood if something happened, or I can just be like, you know what? It happened. This too shall pass, and I can move forward. And that's what I try to live by. Doesn't always happen. The other Gemini fights the other one, and it's like, okay. And it's like, time out, beep, let's recalibrate. And so I would say about, probably 5 years ago. So, and that's, how I deal with it at least that's how it's a coping mechanism for me.
Okay.
Because I get anxiety, and from past hard drug use, even recovering was the anxiety part of that was rough. And I probably should have gone to a facility, but I did it without a facility and I did it cold turkey. And that was one of the most roughest things in
Yeah,
my
it's
life
not easy.
at all. And now I realize the effects that those things had on my brain or had on me mentally now.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of things that I'm not capable of now, or that have stemmed from that. You know, a lot of the anxiety that I have now. I used to have anxiety a lot, but the anxiety that I have now was stemmed from overdosing, twice, and it fucked with you mentally. And so when that happens, a lot of things they don't turn on anymore. And so a lot that's caused a lot of anxiety for me too, and worry about things that shouldn't even be there. And it's just from the use and the overdose of the drugs that happen. So, but that's another episode. But so what's some advice that you would give to someone who's struggling to speak up? Like, you know,
It's scary at first. It really is, and it's very awkward. It can make you feel icky on the inside, like your skin crawling. Especially like for me, I was not used to being vulnerable at all. And I would say, like, for me, it took me a little while. It's about 3 to 5 months period of like really trying. Like in my journal, it's easy. It was just me and my paper, my
Right.
thoughts. But then with my ex-wife, um, and then with my friends, my close friends, friends I've had for 30 years, since middle school.
Yeah.
Um, but then I started working a program, and the more vulnerable I got, the more I started realizing like I was actually helping my sponsees, to help them. 'Cause, they had similar issues and stuff, drug addiction, alcoholism, yada yada. Um, so some of them, with them, me being vulnerable with them, especially off the rip, so that way, it's like, hey, what you say to me, you're safe.
Right.
It stays with me. Some of them got to go to counseling, and get some help, extra help, that they felt was needed. You know, so definitely for someone like try to be vulnerable. I know it's scary. I get it. Um, you know, but it's helped me so much.
Open up.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody.
And the thing is, and it also helped me realize like I don't care how tough someone is. I have seen this 56-year-old man I used to work with. We called Papa. He was our shop foreman. That man was as cold as steel. And for the situation going on in his life, reasonably so, he was vulnerable with us, and I saw him cry. Like he was laying his head on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's like we all have emotions. We all have these feelings. We all have these doubts. We all have these fears. And we always feel alone. That's what's so crazy.
That part.
Yeah, and it's like we're the like, me too. I'm like I'm the only one that feels like this.
Right.
And it's it's natural. But getting over that fear and being vulnerable, I think, really helps a lot.
Yeah.
And so that would be my number one advice is to do that.
Nice. I agree with that. I second that. Just talk to somebody, and if you don't feel like you could talk to somebody, there are hotlines that that you can talk to people. You have the 988, which is the suicide and crisis hotline, and then there's BetterHelp and Talkspace. And then there's also just like I know that there's different groups. I know that whenever Bronco passed, there was a LGBTQ plus group that reached out to me and added me, and then they have people who have experienced the same thing as myself, and it was great to be able to talk to somebody who's experienced the same thing, because a lot of your friends want to help you, but they don't know how because they're not experienced in that area.
Yeah. My
And
parents are the same way. They're not addicts. They're not alcoholics, and they had no clue, what to do,
Right.
to try to help me.
And so just talk to somebody. That's the biggest thing is just talk to somebody. Don't let it build up. Um, we're glad you're here. Be glad that you're here. Value, and all that. And it's easier said than done. But you're what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know what I'm looking for. But just there's so many outlets, and just to be able to talk to somebody that can relate to the same thing that you're relating to. But just talk to somebody. So
Yeah, because like we're talking about in the beginning, it's like how we were raised, and it's like don't talk about that.
mhm.
You
Unlearn
don't
that.
express. Yes, 100%.
Unlearn that.
Because wherever that came from, it's trash.
It's toxic.
It's like,
it's toxic.
and this is the reason why we are where we are.
1,000%. And we have to unlearn the toxicity of the things that we grew up with. And, I don't blame my parents for it because it's how they were raised too, but it was all in how it's trickled downhill now. And back then, like I said, the men was the masculine one, the caretaker that you didn't, nobody, he cared for his family and that's what was supposed to happen. But who cared for him? And it goes back to that. And I just talk to somebody. Just talk to somebody. It's okay to talk to somebody. Don't hold it in. Don't hold it in.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna play a game because you guys know I love playing a game. Break the ice a little bit. I've got to read the rules of this game because it was really cool. I really like it. So the game is called Flex or Feel because what? Why not flex, right? So the rules are I'm gonna read these statements, and if it's a personal win, we're gonna say flex, and if it is still a work in progress, we'll say Phil.
Okay.
So we're gonna start off with the first one.
All right.
I've acknowledged my anxiety got the best of me.
Oh, flex.
Flex for you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, same flex for me.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. All right. I've opened up about trauma to someone I trust.
Flex.
Same.
Yes.
So, like, oh man, probably more people than I should have.
Well, everybody knows.
Yeah,
that.
he's crazy.
Stay away from him.
Let's see. I've noticed when irritability was affecting my relationships.
Flex.
Flex. Notice when. Yeah, I'd say the same.
Oh yeah. I would notice, because people are like, being a dick. It's like, well, fuck you too. No,
Yeah.
I was being a dick. Like, they tell me, thank God, because they love me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I've taken a mental health day without guilt. Flex, 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 flex.
I have not taken a mental health day, but I
I
have
have.
called in sick.
I have definitely taken them. My day job is quite all right with it. I mean,
That's good.
yeah, and I love that, and I think a
I
lot
wish
of
more
employers
companies were like
should.
that.
Yes, and you have your sick days. You have your sick days, your PTO, your vacation, and then we have
Mental health.
personal days, which
Yeah.
that's 100%. More companies should go towards that and it shouldn't be any question. I need a mental health day.
Right.
No questions. Yeah, but I have 150,000% flex. I've felt detached from people and myself. Yes.
Feel.
Feel.
No,
Feel?
well, I mean, so it would be a flex if
So
I have.
flex if it's a personal win, and if it's a still work in progress. Feel.
Feel.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. I think we all kind of struggle with that too.
Yeah, there's times that and recently it's like I'll feel detached, from people, especially my loved ones, my close ones, even my kids. It definitely bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it comes on
Yeah.
or where it comes from exactly. So it's definitely a work in progress.
Absolutely.
Because I don't like to. I always live would be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm hanging out with friends, talking with them, or talking on the phone with them, I would be present.
Absolutely.
And lately, there's times where I feel like I'm half in, half out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of worries me and bothers me.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely I feel.
Gotcha. Let's see. I've avoided situations or people because of stress and anxiety.
Oh wait, was that a flex or a feel for you? The one before?
It was a
Did
feel.
you have-
It was a
okay.
feel. Yeah, it was definitely because there have
Thought
been.
you're trying to skate away.
Oh
with
no.
that one. Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with it.
All right.
Let's see. I've avoided situations or people because of stress or anxiety.
Oh
Feel for me because I'm still
Flex.
working on it.
no, because that used to be a feel.
Yeah.
But for me now, it's just like with fear, for example, it's a good example actually. With with bodybuilding and stuff, you're supposed to look a certain way and stuff, and just going to pool parties and stuff, and a speedo, I would feel so self-conscious, and I was like, you know what, I need to face this fear.
And if you haven't seen
Or speaking in public, right? I had a fear of that.
Yeah.
You know, and so like I had chances where it's like, okay, you know, anytime where a fear, like when I feel fearful and I recognize it,
Mhm.
that's when I start to, no, I'm turning this around and I'm going to
Yeah.
face it head on.
And if you have not seen this man in a Speedo,
Stop.
amazing. Fucking looks great.
Quit. Stop it.
Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on. Amazing. Anyways, I've struggled with trouble sleeping, but took steps to improve it.
Feel. I'm still struggling. Like,
Yes. Just me and my thoughts
2
at
years
3 in the
later.
morning. Same, I'd say feel for me because I've tried different remedies, but it's still like an
I
internal.
mean, there's only so much melatonin I can take before the horse knocks out. I mean,
Absolutely. All right. I've had difficulty concentrating, but sought help or strategies. Flex for me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I've sought therapy or professional help.
Flex.
Feel.
do you
Still
mean?
working on it. Still working on
You
it.
haven't. Oh, you haven't gone?
Oh, I've gone in the past, but not
Oh,
continuously.
that doesn't count?
I mean, yeah, then we'll go with it. It counts, yeah. Because even had it was like when I was a kid too, when my dad died, like they put me in a lot of counseling and
Right.
therapy too. So,
I mean, don't get me wrong. You like counts. Like,
but
You're
I'm
not
also
really
still
done,
trying to
you know what I
unlearn
mean?
too.
Right.
What I'm also trying to unlearn too is like with growing up, especially in a Latin family, Hispanic family, you don't talk to nobody. You talk to God, and that's who you. And you know, it
And the
works.
priest.
You talk to the priest. I'm not telling the priest what I did. He's judging me too. You know, he said he was gonna judge me. So,
He might tell you, good boy.
you better stop. So, with that being, you know, with that, like, no, like, I mean, you still, you don't, in that, especially in Latin, you're taught not to talk
Right.
to anybody. So, I did as
Right.
a kid. I have as an adult. I think I'm okay now where I don't need to, but I'm still in the back of my mind telling myself it's okay. So I'm still learning that. So I would say feel for me. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll change mine to feel too. Okay, makes sense.
And so the last one, I've checked in with a friend struggling silently. Flex, I have.
Does it count if the friend calls you?
Um,
Probably not.
no, you've checked in with somebody
Alright,
who's
then it's
struggling
a feel.
silently.
I've
You've
had my
checked in with me before whenever we first became friends, and I was, you know, the issue I was going through, and I was really
Oh,
rough.
yeah.
You've checked it. You checked.
Okay.
You actually were gonna come by and bang down my door if I didn't answer. So,
Well, yeah, because it took you 6 times to answer. I mean, that's not like you. Normally it's 2.
so that was the game.
cool, flex.
Flex or fill. So yeah. So in closing out, what's one thing that you want our listeners to take from this episode? And did we cover what, you know?
Yeah.
All right, cool. But what's one thing you want people to take from the listeners and viewers?
If you need help, don't be afraid to seek it. Whether it's from family, friends, therapists, it does not make you weak. I understand the fear. You know, it's a lot to overcome. But I can promise you, once you do overcome that fear and get the help that you need, you will be so proud of yourself and thanking yourself for it years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want you to take from that.
Yeah. And then just remember, you know, showing up for your mental health and your strength. Showing up for your mental health is strength, not
Definitely.
weakness. And be honest with yourself. Check in with one another. Check in on your friends. You know, make sure to take care of yourself and never be afraid to ask for help. This has been the Unspoken Truth. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Good to
And
see
we
you all
will
again.
see you guys
Or
the next
first time.
time. We have another great episode that I'm going to have Matty on. It's going to be an episode about addiction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go over that.
So that one's going to be a little bit more deeper, but we're excited to bring that to you. That one should be coming around the December time frame. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We love you. And this is the Unspoken Truth. Have a good night or day or wherever you're at. Bye-bye.